Anime Addicts, this podcast is brought to you by our lovely Anime Addicts community, keeping this podcast ad-free. If you want to help support the show, get all of our exclusive content, free access to the Discord, show notes, and of course that warm feeling you get inside when you do a good thing, you can go to our Patreon page, or you can go to our website, AAAPodcast.com/join. That'll get you to where you can support the show. You get all of our exclusive goodies. And again, you'll be helping out your favorite podcast. And now, it's time to start the show.
Get ready! You're about to listen to the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast. Make your anime addiction worse at AAAPodcast.com. And now, here are your anime addicts.
Welcome into the podcast. This is episode 788 of the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast. My name is Mason, and you guys are in luck today, listeners, because I have two 5 out of 5 co-hosts with me today. 5 out of 5 in charm. We have Caroline coming in looking very yellow.
Well, yellow because of a shirt, but then also tan because I came back from vacation, and it was glorious. And I am regretting coming back.
Perfect. But you look sunny. You got a good disposition to you. And we love to have you. As well as we have the 5 out of 5 in charisma coming in with a slick new haircut. Ready for the summer. We got Andrew.
Haircut plus altering. You know it. You love it. It's mostly because I'm wearing the shirt. It has literally nothing to do with what we're talking about today. It is me, Andrew.
Yeah. And we're
also known as the Friggy.
Yeah. And we're all here to make your anime addiction worse. Follow us on the websites, all the socials that you might imagine. We're probably there, but most importantly, head on over to the Discord. It's the best place to get updates on what we're doing, what's going on. You can join our anime club. Caroline, would you like to give the plug for that?
Yeah, we meet every other Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And our next anime club will be July 30th. We will be discussing the first 13 episodes of Higurashi. So we are midsummer. We are ready for a midsummer mystery show, and I'm sure it'll be interesting. So please join along. If you just want to sit back and listen to us talk about the show, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to participate, but we would love it if you would. So come on by.
Yeah, newcomers are welcome to the Discord, to the clubs. It's a grand old time. And as always, head on over to AAAPodcast.com to submit mailbags, leave reviews, see what our upcoming reviews are going to be of shows, and just generally bask in the glory of everything that this podcast stands for, aka watching way too much anime and then talking about it. In our main topic today, we will be doing a hopefully fun little game called Anime Stat Points, which has gone from a weird idea with zero planning to it's on the docket and we have zero planning. So we'll see what happens, as well as a review of the Apothecary Diaries Season 2. So a lot of big stuff to get to. And with that in mind, let's keep the bigness going.
Oh, 大ニュースです。It's time for big news of the week.
My big news of the week is that the return of the anime Space Brothers might be on the horizon. Maybe, hopefully, question mark. We'll see. So the manga creator Chuya Koyama reported in January of 2022 that the final arc of the Space Brothers manga was in the works. It was on the way. He then revealed in 2024 that the anime adaptation is planned to continue when the manga ends. Essentially, at the time, the 99-length episode fantastic series Space Brothers had reached where the manga was. They had stopped putting out episodes. It's been like 15 years, 10 years? I don't know. It's been a while. It's been way too long. And people are always wondering, is it coming back? He said it will come back when the manga ends. And the big news of the week is now, thanks to an Amazon listing, we can see that the upcoming 46th volume of the manga is set to be the end of it. So, with the end of Space Brothers manga within a year at least, I would assume, when do you guys think we're going to get an anime? Have you guys seen the original one? Are you excited? Any thoughts?
I mean, I've only seen the first 9 episodes of the original.
Fair enough.
As I look at my anime list right now, so it's only been 10 years since well, 11, but since it ended in 2014, March of 2014. I watched it. I think at that time I was working some pretty crazy work schedules and lots of overtime. So I may have started it, I might have dropped it because ease of access wasn't maybe where it was like it is now, like with my phone, and I had like weaker data plans. I mean, it's cool so that it means like they're getting an end to it. People are getting their finality to it, which is pretty solid. So yeah.
I mean, I've never watched it. I've been a little tempted to watch it, but again, 100 episodes and it was unfinished, and so I never really actually watched it. But I'm kind of suspicious. Like, sure, like they say, like, oh yeah, the anime will continue, and then several years later, and the anime never continues. I don't know. I'm sure like the mangaka like wants a continuation. Whether or not it'll get continuation is another question. So,
yeah,
we'll see.
That's a fair point. I would think, if the studio puts in 99 episodes worth of an anime, they're probably somewhat committed. Like, I would understand your point, Caroline, if this was like, oh, it had 12 episodes in season 1, 10 years ago. Like, how likely is it going to come back? But I feel like if they've put that much time into it,
but it's also A1 Pictures.
Who
and
knows?
They are busy.
They're probably booked up for the next 17 years as well. So, no promises. All I know is I kind of have to put this on the news segment for myself and half for Mitz, because I know we both are pretty big fans of Muta and his life story. So, if you like the original, get hyped for maybe more to come. But that's all I got.
Awesome. So I guess that goes on to me and my news. Sorry, I just got a really annoying Discord message from somebody about anime conventions planning, which you can hear a little bit about in our Hobby Addicts episode. Talk about timing, not planned. So yeah, anyway, so my news of the week, I found this quickly before we checked, and I think it's actually really cool. The Criterion streaming service, which, yeah, I get it, another streaming service, we already have like 50 of them, is going to have an anime section added in August, okay? And some of the movies, and this was announced this past Thursday as of recording, so I think July 17th. And it seems to me they're going to be adding a bunch of anime movies to their Criterion streaming service. Some of these movies include the original Ghost in the Shell, Redline, Paprika, a bunch of Makoto Shinkai works, including 5 centimeters per second. I would never put that in a Criterion collection if it was me.
I was about to ask if we could all put one movie into this, what would it be? But that'll be at the end. Continue your list.
Oh man, I mean, honestly, like the ones I would already have thought of they're already putting in, right? Like Redline, I think it as like one of the few remaining like traditionally hand-drawn animations being left, right? Being left that were made at the time, like one of the last ones, and I think the last one done by, what was it, Mappa at the time, or Mappa Studios?
Sounds right.
I could be very wrong, and you know what, I have the internet so I can look it up really quickly. It is a where is it? Director. Okay, they're really bad about this.
Madhouse.
Madhouse. There we go. I knew it started with an M. Yeah. I knew it started with an MA. Yeah. So yeah, I would say Redline, I think, as like partially cultural, partially what they did, and also just in terms of presentation. But things like the original Ghost in the Shell would also be on that list for me. But what about you guys?
I mean, I don't really know the current statuses of movies that are, whether or not they're on streaming services already, so I'm just gonna pass this to Mason.
Oh, I guess like just think of like classic, well acclaimed, beloved movies. Just like, I don't know, like what fits your mind. Like, I get that, oh, like, Ghibli films are on other services, but I assume you'd put a Ghibli film in that set, Caroline, if you want to go with that. I mean, for me, I'm thinking, when I think of Criterion Collection, I think more like throwback classic movies. So like stuff like Akira would definitely have to be on there. I did have one in mind, and then I got distracted looking up Redline, and I completely forgot what I was gonna pick. Let's go with some weird old classic stuff like Summer of Andalusia, just because no one's ever seen that movie, and I love it, and it's awesome, and I want more people to check it out. So there you go.
Yeah, makes sense. But there's some other interesting ones. But I mean, Makoto Shinkai getting his works in there is pretty solid, and I'm happy about it. And they didn't put the foot one in, so at least people won't be turned off by his works.
Well, I mean, if you have any Tarantino stuff on there,
it's still a good movie, but like the foot stuff is a little bit like you gotta like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't scare the people.
But yeah, no, I think so. I think this is pretty cool. I think it's a really good step, and I think it is a nice legitimization of certain things. And it's not like anime movies needed to be legitimized in any particular way, but it's nice to know that some film students, quote unquote, will have to watch. Will probably watch some animes and be like, ah. But also, we're getting Paprika in there as well, which I actually, you know what, I'm going to admit, I have not seen. Yeah,
I
know.
Have you seen all his other ones?
Actually, I don't think I've ever seen oh my god, I forgot what's his name again. Satoshi Kon.
Yeah,
I don't think I've actually ever seen any Satoshi Kon movie.
Wow,
it's been on my list for forever.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to pick one Kon movie to go there, I think it'd have to be Perfect Blue, because it is.
Yeah,
it is literally perfect. Like, it's not for everyone. I get that. It's very intense and very weird. But it's such a distillation of how good an anime film can be.
What if we got, I mean, we've already talked about it on the podcast, but I'm saying retro review maybe? I don't know. Watch party? I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll do that once, but it'll be definitely after my anime convention in August, for sure.
Yeah, I get you. Nice.
So.
Well, I'm not for more streaming services, but if they put together a good collection, and especially as someone who's like trying to push people to watch more anime movies, to be like, hey, you've been reticent to do so, just go here, and there's a great collection. That's, that warms my heart a bit. So I'm all down for this, I guess. All right. Well, with that, we can jump to our main topic, which is anime stats. So let me pull up our little game board here, which is not really a game board. It's just a little thing to keep track of stuff. And so here's the mindset for us and the listeners if they want to participate as well. You are the producer of an upcoming anime, and someone is coming to you and saying, hey, we are funding such and such anime, and you have the magical ability to pour the money, the resources, the stat points, if you will, into different aspects of the show to make it better. And yes, in real life, you can't just be like, oh, I'm going to spend $1 million on animation and it's going to be the greatest thing ever. Like, it's not always a straight correlation. But in this magical case, you can. If you are giving something, let's say 5 out of 5 stat points in animation, it's going to be the most glorious looking show ever, objectively. But you only have so many stat points in your bucket to make the show. You can't give 5 stat points to everything and make the perfect thing, because that's not how the world works. So what I've done is made a tree of, well, not a tree, a little pentagram thing of 4 stat points. We have, or categories. We have visuals, we have sound, so music, voice acting, that kind of stuff. We have the story and the plot, and then finally we have the characters. So let's just, for example, what are shows that we think might be like a 5 out of 5 for animation, or what shows might be like a 0 out of 5 for animation in your head? And we can keep it to more recent examples if you want. But what do you guys think? What are good examples to kind of set our goalposts here?
Okay. First thing comes to mind for like a 0 out of 5 for visuals and animation, like Way of the House Husband. Just because, like, in terms of a person could say like, oh, but stylistically it's nice. I'm like, I would disagree, but animation wise, there's no question. There's no animation in that show.
It's not a good looking show. For me, I tried to keep it to recent examples, like the beginning after the end. I don't know if either of you watched the first couple episodes of that show, but
I actually finished that show.
It was pretty bad.
That was rough.
That's like, I would say like a 1 or 2, right?
Well,
like,
I would also say
0.
like maybe a 1.
Yeah, I would put it at like a 1 or 2.
Okay.
Because like I'm using Sakamoto Days as like a 3 as my baseline. You know?
Fair. I just if we are making a show and you put in 0 points in the animation, that's about the level you're going to get. It's not that you don't have animation, or if you put 0 points into music, it's a silent thing. Like, that's not how it works. But that's a low bar. And what's like a 5 out of 5 animation show for you guys?
Oh, interesting.
I should have prepped more.
No, it's okay.
I mean, well, I wasn't expecting these kinds of questions, but I would say like, I don't know, a 5 out of 5. Oh, that's really tough, actually. Huh.
Or how about movies? Maybe those Satoshi Kon movies would be a 5 out of 5.
Well, I mean, like a 5 out of 5 animation would be like Redline. Or,
Redline's like a 6 out of 5.
Or Makoto Shinkai, right? Like, and like I would say 5 out of 5 Makoto Shinkai. You know?
Yeah.
Where
but that's for like a movie 5 out of 5. So I was thinking like Kyoto Animation, like Sound Euphonium or something like that for like for TV quality. Think Violet Evergarden. Exactly. So
yeah, okay, let's do that then.
So those are kind of.
Well, Violet Evergarden feels like a 6.
I mean,
sometimes.
Yeah, but just it's not a hard and fast.
We'll use it as our high five.
It's just our markers. It's our water lines.
So to recap for the audience, because we were mostly discussing, right? So a 0, like our basically our 0 baseline would be Way of the House Husband. Like a 1 would be something like what Caroline said.
The beginning after the end.
I agree with the beginning after the end. A 3 is something like Sakamoto Days, where it clearly has some animation, but it's clearly not as good as it could be. A 5 would be something like Violet Evergarden, and a 4 would be something like, I don't know, Rakugo Shinju, or is that because that's cinematography? Does that play into the visuals?
I would say
it's visuals, right?
So these are very vague categories. So visuals could be the animation, the character designs, just the general cinematography, how the world looks, the compositing. There's a lot that goes into it in one bucket. And I think Rakugo is a very fair thing. It's not the most flashy, but it gets the job done and it tells the story really well. So perfect. Let's set that as our parameters. Voice acting, a little bit more difficult, just because we don't always have the air, which if something's bad, you just kind of throw it into it's good or it's bad from my perspective.
So it's really hard to say because we don't speak Japanese as a native language. It's hard to see what's like bad acting versus good acting versus like if you're listening to like a dub per se, you know, where they were forced into certain constraints which the Japanese aren't forced into. So I don't know if I have a metric for this, but
me neither.
I would say this one we should probably do something like, if we're going for a 0, you want like amateur.
It's us.
College.
0 is us doing the voices.
Yeah.
5 is like
you're getting the big names, right?
You're getting Sujita. You're getting all the top stars.
Maybe,
kind of thing.
Like for a 5, at least in the music category or like in the music side of things, maybe Made in Abyss.
Sure. Yeah. On the soundtrack kind of stuff. Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. We all know what good stuff sounds like. We'll just, you know, when you
Hiroyuki Sawano,
sure.
You know, any of his works would probably be a 5.
Exactly, you're getting the A-list S-tier stuff, and not the college dropout crew. Story, plot. For examples, my 0 or 1 would be like My Dear Friend Nokotan, whereas like a 5 might be something like Orb or Rakugo Shinju that Andrew mentioned. So like. Not to say that comedies don't get any points, but like it's so pointless in a way that it's not.
I would say we should also establish like a middle value here. Like, what would be our baseline 3? You know, like our average story per se. Because I would say if you're looking at a comedy, something like The Daily Lives of High School Boys, or what was the
Nichijou?
the other one, not City the Animation, but the other one,
Nichijou.
Nichijou, yeah, right.
But those
Or
are
if you're
like
like looking,
on purpose. Think of stuff like MF Ghost, where it's just people race. Like there's not much
yeah,
more.
but I would
to
put that
it.
like at a
Yeah, it's
one,
a
or
one
two
or
based
two.
off of what I've heard from it.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, I get you.
Um,
So
Okay.
we can feel this stuff out. This is just the set the parameters. And finally, for characters, like really good characters to me are important. Like if I was personally making a show, I would probably often put 5 out of 5 points in characters. But I'm not making a show for me. I'm making a show for the masses, or whatever the prompt is. But to me, like a good character would be like stuff from Shoshimin, How to Become Ordinary,
Odd Taxi.
Odd Taxi, exactly. Great stuff, a lot of depth, a lot of to them. Whereas like a 0 or a 1, like I'm trying not too hard to like just shit on on shows, but a show that just isn't like that great. I don't know, Solo Leveling or something. It's not the deepest.
Ooh, someone's trying to start fights apparently today.
No, I don't know, the vending machine show.
I mean,
okay,
Bakso
here, a
has
0.
depth because he's literally 3D. Like, if he didn't have depth, how would he hold his contents? So, checkmate, Caroline.
Well, 0, I would say, okay, so if we're speaking characters and we're not speaking specifically design, so like if we're speaking like design, a 0 is like any show where if you swap the hair, that's the only difference between the characters, right? But if you're speaking,
But would
like,
that be more visuals? Now we're
that
talking
would
like
also fall under
actual
visuals
character
too.
writing.
Yeah, so I would say, yeah, a 0 character writing. I don't know. It's usually going to end up being like gag mangas because they're one-note jokes, right? For the most part.
Secco Boys.
Yeah.
They're literal statues.
Or even like some idol shows. Actually, no, a lot of people hate me for saying that. But they definitely have some characters, but it definitely feels like all the same. But I think we're better off establishing like more of a baseline 3 than like trying to figure out what a 0 is.
Yeah. I mean, to me, 3s are a lot of like shonens. Your kaiju number 8s, your undead unlocks. Like there are some elements there, but it's very simple. It's not quite memorable as much as the total package. So,
well, and also you'll find more often than not, like if you're a 5, you're usually a 5 character, you're a 5 story more often than not, because those characters the story tends to implicate those characters more often than not. So, which will make it difficult when we rank it. But
we are doing a review of Apothecary Diaries later today, so we'll see how that goes. But I think we have our general setup here. Enough setting the fence posts. We can get into the game, if you will. And originally, I was going to have us on different, each making our own thing. But I think we should work together on this. And I guess we're the holy trinity, the Shark Tank, if you will, of making shows. So, I guess I've arranged, and you guys have as well, a collection of prompts. And our goal is to, with the stat points allocated for each prompt, come up with the best product to fit the need. So the first one I'll start with is we are in charge of making a dark, mature movie that's for adults. And we have 15 stat points to use. So we can use as many as we want for visuals, sound, characters, story, and like I said, the 5th mysterious miscellaneous thing, if there's some feature that we really want to either put extra money into or have like a special way of allocating it. So how would we spend 15 stat points to make the best dark movie ever?
I would say we probably would invest a bulk of our points into, I would suggest into into story and visuals, because when you do that, more often than not, what you find with a lot of these like darker, more mature things is that either the story or the characters is really good, And then for it to be great is that it also has some really interesting visuals that go along with it. So like something like Perfect Blue, a thing I've never seen, but I've seen some things from it, and I've heard people talk about it a little bit. I haven't, and it's been so long I don't remember any of the spoilers. But that sounds like something with a really good story or character, but also paired with the visuals makes it that much more, like it elevates it more. So if you're going for that kind of level of, and like Mason said, it's perfect. I think that's where we would likely go into, I think, some of our points, because we're not doing horror, where I would say you might want to invest more in sound per se.
I think we can get away with the story being like having more focus and therefore stat points than visuals, but only slightly more. Like, I feel like if they're really interested in the story, the visuals won't matter as much.
Now, because you think it's for adults, do you think it needs to pop in quite the same way that like a kids movie might need?
Yeah, I don't feel like we need to be like hypnotized by how good it looks.
Okay, so we want to start with four in visuals, just to start and see what we're left with. So we got a 4 in visuals. I like Andrew's point that, like, if it's not, a horror film, you could probably ease back on sound, though that makes, a big of a difference. Is there any, I guess we should clarify, is there any miscellaneous step we want to add? Is it
for a dark mature show? I don't think so. I think a lot of what sells a dark, more mature show, like, think of your monsters, right? Mm-hmm. It's like the story and characters. That one, the visuals don't matter as much in that particular case. And like I said before, Perfect Blue. What are other dark mature stories I think we would put in the same vein, you would say, right? Like, I don't know, Genkutsuo. That's one where it fits more, I think, because there's a mystery element. There's like more of a story and visuals aspect to it, which makes it different from just watching or another version of the Count of Monte Cristo. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For movies,
if I'm using these as examples,
Ghost in the Shell, Akira, I would put on that list. I'd say maybe some of the Kizu Monogatari stuff could go on there. Those are all, darkish in a sense. So
yeah, but those, like I would say, would probably rely more on visuals and story than I would say anything miscellaneous in that particular case.
Okay, we can stick with what we have for now then. I think characters has to be high. I would also put it at, I mean, if we put, just for reference, if we put a 3 for characters and a 3 for story, we're at 4 visuals, 3 characters, 3 story, and we've used up 10 of our points. Mm-hmm. So the question is, do we just do 3 in sound and bump characters and story both up to 4 and just have a pretty even spread, or do we want to?
Well, you see, you still have to put something into miscellaneous. So, like, we never really defined miscellaneous, but I would say things like miscellaneous would be things like promotion, marketing, merchandising potential, exactly. That kind of thing, So, like, if you put 0 into miscellaneous, it's going to be a niche show that Mason will fucking love, but no one will have seen.
I love it. I mean,
what about star power? Because I feel like adults, we're really interested in knowing who's in a movie.
Gotcha. You want to get some extra, like, spend some extra for the dub cast and make it on the Criterion collection. Yeah, we can do that. Let's do that star power. I think that's a good one.
All right.
Because that's probably a little more relevant to a movie than maybe a show. And what do we want to put for that? 2? 3?
A dark, mature movie.
I think it could be a 2, or a 1 or a 2, because you might get one big star, but again, it is anime, so a lot of it is voice performance. So you might get some interesting things. Like, you might want one big star to, like, bring people in, and then have a bunch of unknowns or newer people in the industry trying to, like, flex their acting muscles. But you want, like, maybe that villain role or that, like, really big role is filled by like some really big actor, like I forget any name.
I was thinking, like, where Ghibli gets, like, Mark Hamill and Christian Bale to do their stuff, and it's not always the best performances, but it's usually like, oh, people take it a little more seriously. I don't know why my thing keeps on resetting, but anyway. Let's see. So we have 2 for star power, 4 visuals, 3 characters, 3 story, and we are at a total of 12. So we need something in sound.
I would say you should bump story up to 4 and leave sound at a 2 as well.
You know,
Or am I
I'm thinking that as
miscalculating?
well.
Okay. So that's 15 stat points, 2 star power, 4 visuals, 2 sound, 3 characters, 4 story. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, me too.
Like, I purposely
I
gave
agree.
us not quite enough to work with because you had to make cuts somewhere. And
Yeah.
I think I'm happy with that.
I mean, if you want it to be even spicier, you would have done 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you have to assign those specific stats, and that would make it a more spicy thing here, because then you actually have to prioritize what you're prioritizing in a lot of ways. But we can do. I'm good with like splitting how you want this. I was just thinking of that as another way of going about it.
Yeah.
Because
We
you
can
don't
do
have
that
15 stat points for
one or
everything.
two of them.
We can do
Yeah.
them where
I think that's a fun idea.
it works. Yeah. So there you go. There's our perfect dark anime movie. Hopefully we didn't make you too mad. Who wants to give the next prompt? And we'll just run through as many of these as we have time for. And Caroline, what is it?
All right. An Yashike comedy with 12 stat points.
Man, this is
Hmm.
Are you thinking like Beaufry type stuff or?
I'm thinking.
Or no, that's not. That's
No, that's an
not,
isekai.
That's
Yashike
isekai,
is
not
like
a
a-
yasuke. Yasuke is
I'm thinking
calming.
like Yuru Camp.
Okay, I could see Eurocamp or Barakamon or
Mhm.
yeah, okay.
So I would say that has to have like
Ooh,
high
sound, high
characters?
characters.
Mm.
I feel like sound is super critical for Yashike.
Right. It has to get the crispiness of the voices correct and be ASMR-ish, I guess.
Yeah, I would put a lot of stat points into characters and sound, like maybe even 5 and 4.
Right. Yeah, I was thinking
Okay.
characters 5, sound 4.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, and I only have like 12 stat points to work with here, so we're going to have to be a little bit more particular of how we distribute than the last one.
Well, we have 3 points left, right?
So I guess our miscellaneous factor should be
We have 3 points left. Okay, maybe bring down the
both
5 and
by
4
1
to like
4 and
3
3.
and 4.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. Should
we
miscellaneous just
do have
be comfy
some- yeah.
factor? Is that too all-consuming?
I don't know. I feel like that would just be the definition of a
I
Yashike.
know, but it's what we're going for. It could be like ASMR research unit, and it like what
It could be uniqueness factor.
yeah, to just differentiate it from the other ones. Though I guess that's a pretty. I mean, uniqueness is kind of a good 5th category across the board, if I'm being honest. Like what sells it versus other Yashike. Yeah, let's do uniqueness for this one, and I'm gonna. What do we want to do? 2 for that?
Sure.
Hmm.
That sounds
A
good.
2 for uniqueness?
Yeah, it doesn't need to be overly unique. That's not what people are here for when they're here for a
Yeah, they know.
Let's be honest
Yeah.
with
Even move
ourselves.
it down to 1 if we needed to, because
I would say you could, it
Let's
could be
do
a
that.
1, it could even be a 0. It doesn't need to be unique. It's an Yashike at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, it needs to be
people are here for
just-
the other stuff.
it needs to be just different enough. Like we had Eurocamp, and this season we have solo camping for 2.
camping.
Like it's
Yeah.
it's about as similar, just slightly different with ages and casts. So right now we're at 8 points. 1 for uniqueness, 3 for sound,
9
4 for
points.
characters.
Oh, I didn't know we brought down uniqueness that low.
Oh, I think we were saying like as just barely dictionary in a court of law, we could say hey, we're not ripping off any other Yashike. So we have
Okay.
3 to work with between visual, story, and anything else that we might want to bump
I
back
think
up.
story could be a 1, honestly, as well, because is that what you're really here for the Yashike? Is the story?
I mean, how Yashike do we need to be? I think we need at least one because it's a Yashike comedy. You know, it's not like, I guess even Arya has like a pretty good story. So let's go.
I think okay, so we actually have 12. Or like we have already used 8 points. We have 4 points to work with here.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like evenly split story and visuals.
Yeah, that sounds right to me. So,
that makes sense. I mean, I would personally say I don't watch Yashikes. I don't think there's really any stories in them outside of maybe a few things, outside of what's happening with the characters. And I think visuals are probably more important than story with a lot of Yashikes as well. I think with a lot of people, but I would say a 3-1, but I'm willing to consensus a 2-2 here.
yeah, I could go either way. Caroline, this is your prompt. What do you want to go with? 3-1 or 2-2? Or
I feel
1-2 and put an extra point back into sound, which probably gets my vote.
That works too.
No, I'm feeling 2-2.
2-2. So we have 1 uniqueness, 2 visuals, 3 sound, 4 characters, 2 story, for a grand total of 12, I think, if I did my math correctly. So there you go. We have our Yashike comedy, not an isekai, regardless of what I'm misreading. Excellent. I'd watch that. Probably wouldn't give it a good score, but I'd watch it. Andrew,
all right,
do you have one you want us to tackle?
Sure. I said, why not? Let's do it. Let's just do a mecha show, and see what we think is important in a mecha show.
Can my miscellaneous offering be just the cockpit? Just like...
No, I was going to say merchandising potential.
I was going to say character designs, mech designs, working with distributors to actually produce these things. I think we can do, merchandising.
Yeah.
All right.
So let's be honest. And I gave us 15 points because, fair enough.
We got a Sunrise budget.
Crazy. Yeah, it's a Sunrise budget. And obviously, the things that matter here the most are visuals and merchandising, which I would put
5 for both? 4 for both?
5 for both. Because that's where the studios really care.
Let's start with that.
Actually, not even. Visuals could be a 3. Merchandising has to be a 5, though.
Yeah, no, merch is a 5. Visuals are 3. Yeah. I think sound needs to be a 3 or a 4. I think to get that crunchy, to sell you on the mechs, they need to.
No,
they need to sound good.
No, they need to look good doing nothing and saying nothing. You don't actually need sound in a lot of, and even voice acting or things like that. There are some, if the mech designs are really cool, those mech boys will go for it regardless of how bad it is. I watched a whole, even story I don't even need to be high on. I watched a whole show called Valve Rave, which had another name that we're not allowed to say on YouTube. And it was because the designs of the mechs looked pretty good and the story was okay and developed pretty quickly.
So when I was thinking sound, I'm just thinking the sound effects, just like the clinking and
Foley.
Yeah, that more than, so we can really make it a 3, but really that's not going towards the voice acting. It can be towards anything. Actually, let's make sound a 2. Let's make.
I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Characters. Let's see if we make characters 2 and story 2, just for.
That leaves us with an extra point.
That gives us. Yeah, that gives us an extra point. So we can either take something away from characters or story and put it into visuals.
I say put characters 3 because, no, actually not even. Characters 2. I was like, visuals actually, put it into characters because literally one of the most popular mech shows for the last decade, or not the last decade, for the prior decades, was a show where the main artist or like the anime was known for having by a director who had called Same Face Hirai, where all the characters basically look the same, except because they had the same face, but they had different hairstyles. And he was known for that. And that show had like the two most popular anime characters in the male and female category for over a decade. I'm looking at you, Gundam Seed. So,
So right now we're at 15 points. 5 in merch, 3 visuals, 2 sound, 3 characters, 2 story. Do we take 1 point away to bump up visuals? Or does your point being like, hey, if you've already made them look cool enough as mechs, that's all you need?
I'm happy with this spread, to be honest. Okay. I don't know how you guys think, but I think that merchandising is the ultimate when it comes to a mech show at the end of the day. And the better the merch does, it means season 2 we get 30 points, maybe not. We maybe get 20.
I mean, 25 would be the max. So, Caroline, any thoughts?
As you,
we're going for that red line budget, folks.
No, looks good.
Perfect.
All right,
there you go. There's our perfect.
Do you want to do another one, Caroline,
show.
or do you want to jump back to Mason?
Yeah, let's jump back to Mason.
Okay. Well, this next one I think will be a fun one because you guys are kind of more shonen-y than myself, but the task is to make a long-running shonen for children that is you're trying to make the most amount of content. So originally I had like a scale system of like you had less and less stat points the longer you wanted to go, but I think that's what our miscellaneous thing is going to be. So our fifth thing in this category is just number of 100 of episodes.
Show length? Okay.
Show length, yeah. So essentially you can make the best 100 episode show you want, but can you steal stuff from other categories to keep it going longer? So visuals, sound, character, story, and then the miscellaneous will be...
This is interesting.
How long can you make it go?
Do we want to go with a My Hero / Dan to Dan / I was going to say Black Clover approach, but that's not true. But like that approach where they do a season every year? Or are we going with like the Black Clovers, the One Pieces, the Narutos?
It has to go direct. It has to go forever.
Sorry.
It's the old school show.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. The Boruto's dads. My bad. I forgot about that meme. Apologies.
That's okay.
Okay, sure. So we'll go.
So what should we do for our miscellaneous category?
Show length.
It's how long can you make this go?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought by putting out
I did
100,
originally,
200,
but essentially the show length one kind of takes that away. Like it takes the place of.
Okay.
Don't delete it. Leave it for the show notes.
The show notes must remain. Yeah, originally I had like you get a decreasing number of stat points depending on how long you want to go for, but I think that miscellaneous is.
Here's what I'm gonna say. Okay.
Yeah.
I think visuals are a 2, but hear me out. Okay. The reason it's a 2 is because every 30 or 40 episodes you'll get one really good episode, but like most of the episodes are pretty garbaggio in terms of animation.
Well, not even that. Not even can you get away with stuff and just save your big Sakuga budget for like drop it here and there. Careful planners know of good running shonen that the first 10 minutes of any shonen can just be reused assets.
Yeah.
Of the last 10 minutes of the previous episode.
Yeah, exactly.
I see you, One Piece. I love you, but I only need to watch every other episode during one stretch of that marathon.
Exactly. So I think starting with 2 for visuals is perfectly fine.
Pretty on brand. Yeah.
I feel like the story needs to be a 3 or a 4.
See, I think despite my the affliction for not being the biggest fan, I feel like characters are way more crucial because you can
I would argue
put pretty likable compelling characters through very poorly written stories.
Are shonen characters that deep? Like a lot of them are fairly tropey.
They're better than their stories though.
Yeah. Like, think about it. Like, the reason why One Piece is as loved as it is not because of the stories that Oda is telling, but it's because of the characters that he's bringing out, right? People really love Dragon Ball because of the characters, not because of the story. It's literally the same story every arc.
I know, because I was thinking of Naruto. I think the story in Naruto is pretty good. And the characters are kind of paint by numbers.
But there's a lot of them, and they all bring different vibes.
Yeah, except for I would argue that
let's
the
put them
great part
both...
about
Go ahead. Sorry.
Naruto was the Zabuza arc, and it was because those characters were pretty awesome. Is where I would argue that.
Let's put them both at a 3 for now.
Okay.
We'll put equal weight on them, and then we'll see kind of how everything else shakes out. And I don't think I mentioned it, but we get 15 points to use. So right now we're at 8. 2 for visuals, 3 for characters, 3 for story. But if we want to make this a long-running show...
I mean, show length definitely is a 5, let's be honest.
That's what we're trying to do here. And we do
I
that...
feel like the sound doesn't need to be that amazing, but it has to be iconic.
I think if just your openings are good.
Yes.
Like, not even the in-show music. Not the Foley effects.
Well,
and
not just your openings, but
and barely
your
the voice
break
acting.
Sounds have to be good too.
Your eye catches have to have that.
That's the
that Bazinga level sound drop.
Right.
So
It needs to have a good OP. It needs to have one memorable theme, and everything else can be. The memorable theme will be played in every single episode, and that'll be it.
It's the Kill a Kill, Lose Your Way. Like, we just keep on slamming that repeat button because
every character needs their own personal theme that is iconic. Otherwise, it's just not going to match.
Maybe.
It's the same thing. It's just played on different instruments. Like, one character gets the flute, one character gets the bassoon, one character gets the tuba. He's the comic relief character. Like,
are we trying to make? Well, here let's focus ourselves a little bit better. Are we trying to make a One Piece, a Naruto, or a Black Clover?
You're just trying to make children keep on watching it. You're trying to keep people who are 7 and under,
making a Pokemon?
eyes on the screen is all you care about. How low can we go?
Well, if it's Pokemon, we definitely don't need story. It's mostly characters. And show length is like a 6 out of 10.
So how about this? Right now we're at 15 points. We have 5 for length because we maxed that out. 2 visuals, 2 sound, 3 characters, 3 story. If I told you, hey, you can take points away, and for every point you take away, you make an extra $1 million a year. What would you start chiseling out for your own pocketbooks?
Oh, story. Like, story or sound, because if we have good characters, like, I mean, even just like long running, not even like even comedy shows, right? Like Osamatsu-san and shit and stuff like that have just fun characters. Look at, like, what is it, Saizai-san? It's not because of story that show has been running for as long as it has. So I would say, yeah,
it has to be. Then episodic is the way to go. Story 2.
Story
not
2.
3.
And can we drop characters
or
as
Gintama,
well?
fucking Gintama. Like, it's not because of the story. I don't know. I've only seen like 30 episodes of Gintama, and like back in the early 2000s.
Gintama puts all its story stat points like sporadically throughout, and it has really good arcs that keep people going, just like your Sakuga drip of like, oh, every 30 episodes we're just gonna have the sickest thing ever.
Yeah, like when we're looking at like these values, right, we're looking at the balance. We're not saying it's gonna always be a 2-level animation, but you're gonna get less. Like, the higher your number is, the more likely you're getting that animation. But if like you put a 1, it doesn't mean you're not gonna get like a Todoroki versus Deku fight, but then the rest of the show is just like mouth
Mineta.
flaps, you know, like, you know, or house husband, you know, like, but it that kind of thing, right? You know, except you know a whole bunch, but you got what I mean.
I think we're good with this. We're at 14. We each make $1 million. We cut the story a bit, and there we go. We got a long-running shonen right here, folks.
And we rich, baby.
Killing
Rich.
Hell yeah.
And it's $1 million dollars, not yen, just to confirm.
Yeah, $1 million US dollars, my friend.
Oh, which is even more yen. Yay! I'm rich.
Caroline, you want to do one last one?
Sure. So let's see here. I don't know. You pick which one you like of mine. I don't know.
I was gonna say we should do the isekai one. I think that might be a little bit fun.
Yeah, I was thinking about
for the
doing this
group.
one too. All right, let's get this set up then.
Awesome.
Can
Consensus.
we fuse
Automatically,
this
I already know.
with Andrew's gotcha isekai? The Holy
Oh,
Trinity?
I mean, it's basically the same idea. We don't need to do my gotcha game one, which is basically the same as we would probably give it the same amount of points. I would say let's give it the isekai 11 points to like like the average of our two values. Like my gotcha game is 12.
Now, I was
and
thinking like the miscellaneous category, it'd be ecchi. I feel like that needs to
We'll
be
just
in
make
this.
it bust size.
Bust size.
Bust
Okay.
size.
No, I think but here. Oh, you want to know? Here's the quicker the kicker. The less leave it. I would say leave it at ecchi, but the less points we put on it, the more likely it is to be ecchi.
How about this word that's never been said before? Dojinability.
I love
how
it.
capable
I fucking
is
love
this
it.
show? How can this transform into a dojin?
I like it. Okay, fair enough.
I'm just watching
Sorry,
Caroline
that's like
spell that.
dojinchinism.
Dojinability.
Dojin ability.
It kind of rolls off the
Okay.
tongue.
Yeah.
I thought I was going
It
to flood
does.
it.
It's better than dojinchiness.
Okay, Andrew.
Dojinchiness
Forward.
just sounds like a dog breed.
What?
But,
Yo, you're gonna put dojinchin ability, and I said
Yeah, that's what I
dojinchiness.
did. But
Yeah.
you're insulting my word choice.
Oh no, you could come up with a good dojinshi word. Dojinshi ability, dojinchinability, dojinchinability. You see, if you were gonna go with that, I would totally go along with it.
All right.
okay, so we
Okay,
have 11
let's go.
points to make the best seasonal, forgettable, partially gotcha game isekai that ever did be.
So is the dojin ability automatically a 5, or do we save some points here?
I think it has to be a 4.
I say we started at a 3 or a 4 and see how everything else
Yeah.
shakes out. Though remember,
I say 4.
4 already
Yeah.
puts us at like over
7
33%
points left.
of our points. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
So-
1/3 of our points. Which makes sense. It is a dojinshi after all.
Yeah. So I'm trying to like think like what kind of seasonal isekai are we getting these days besides like whatever it is that I said, the beginning after the end.
Well, I think the characters is going to be like a 1 or a 2. The visuals in terms of character design, however, a little bit higher, just because we need the girls to be cute.
Yeah. So if we put visuals at a 3, just for reference, we're at 8 points, which feels okay. So if we put story at a 2, I'm just filling this out really quick. So if we put, let's just say we do sound, characters, and story all at a 1. That puts us at a total of 10 points. 4 dojin ability, 3 visuals, 1 sound, 1 character, 1 story. Which is not... It's actually not too bad.
Yeah.
APC
the
in the
story
chat
needs
is
to have
saying
a little
1
bit
is
more.
too high. And we really haven't utilized our 0 option.
But then there would just be nothing. It feels like there would be nothing.
So
I
your-
honestly think 0. I think story should probably be.
So your prompt is
0.
the seasonal forgettable isekai, Caroline. Like,
Yes. But I feel like there needs to be some sort of something for them to do in this show. I think the story needs to be a 1 or a 2.
I guess my thought is to give it precedence. If it's so bad, it's actually memorable. And I think putting it at 0 might this is an anime embezzlement situation where we got a lot of money and we're just pumping out the lowest thing. So I
think sound is more important than story as well, because you need a banger OP
Okay.
and you need those girls to sound super sexy for that doujinshi that people are imagining in their heads. They don't care about the story. They're there to do unkind things to these women's in their head.
I feel like the
And sometimes
characters
dudes.
are less important. Like, what if we did? I mean, are we putting like character design in all in visuals, all in characters, or all in doujin? Like, we're kind of splitting it up. I'm just wondering if we do 2 in sound, 2 in story, and 0 for characters.
Yeah, that
Would
sounds right to me.
Would that get us what we need? You know? Because I feel like you need the generic setup of, oh, how did they get hit by a vehicle? What kind of fantasy world did they go to? What weapon did they find early on that makes them OP? Like that, there needs to be enough of that to get people salivating, so that when our main character eventually meets the doujinable folks, like they're already invested. Or maybe, like you said, the OP is good enough that it just tantalizes them like a carrot on a stick to lead the viewers into, oh, I gotta watch until she shows up. So, what do we think about this? 43202. Doujin visuals, sound characters.
I'm
pretty good with
love
this.
it,
Okay.
actually.
Perfect.
That was actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to be, funny enough.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to be hard, but I didn't think it was going to be this easy to like come up with something like a seasonal forgettable isekai that'll make us a ton of money, but we all hate to watch. It's definitely getting like not high. Maybe I'll give it a 2.
Yeah. Let's see. I was gonna have us try to do this for something else, but I think we're running long on time. I guess, is there a recent show that you guys have watched that you want to try to assign stats to, or do we want to save this and do it as part of our Apothecary Diaries review?
Yeah, let's do it for the Apothecary Diaries.
We can do it for Apothecary Diaries, and also this is another subject we can revisit in the future for some more mineable gold. Yeah. And even maybe apply it to our Shark Tank in the future, maybe as well.
So yeah. Well, I hope we had fun making this. I think we have a trivia question when we get to our news break kind of thing. Who's reading that thing?
I believe I'll read
Caroline.
it. In the second season of Apothecary Diaries, Mau Mau finds and cares for a cat. What name is the cat given? And bonus points, what is the cat's title? And we'll give you the answer after the news break.
This is Mason, and this is your news break for episode 788 of the podcast. First off, congratulations are in order for Koyoharu Koto Uge, whose manga Demon Slayer, you might have heard of it, has now sold over 200 million copies according to its publisher. This makes it only the 7th manga series of all time to accomplish this feat. It now joins the veritable pantheon of heavy hitters which include Naruto, Dragon Ball, Case Closed, and the top 3, all of which have sold over 300 million, include Golgo 13, Doraemon, and One Piece, topping the list with 516 million copies. That said though, Demon Slayer by far and away took the fewest number of volumes to get there, sitting at only 23 right now, which is really quite impressive. And I could easily see it making to 300 million. You know what they say, the first 200 million's the hardest part. And in other news, the Television Academy announced the nominees for the 77th Annual Primetime Emmy Awards. And for the category Outstanding Original Main Title Theme Music, Shinichiro Watanabe's Lazarus was nominated for Kamasi Washington's opening theme song, Vortex. Other series to get nominations, all of which are not anime, include Department Q, Dune Prophecy, The Residents, The White Lotus, and Your Friends and Neighbors. And while I do enjoy Kamasi Washington and think that the music in Lazarus was quite excellent, I'd be lying if I didn't say I was a bit underwhelmed by this one. So that said, I gave a listen to all the other nominees to see what Lazarus's chances were. Full disclosure, have not seen any of these. And while I honestly couldn't sit through it, I think Dune Prophecy probably would get my vote. And as someone who has poo-pooed Dune properties in the past, that's saying something. But I do think that the music here best captured the essence of that series in a way that the others did not. But hey, that's just one man's opinion. We'll see who actually wins in mid-September when the Emmys air. And that's all the news stories I found this week. So here's 10 seconds of a cat on my desk, and I'll see you back in the main episode.
So you're at the gym, feeling great and looking great too, I might add. That is until your favorite podcast ends. Now, without your headphones, you're suddenly lost in the wilds of Meatland. Don't get lost in the wilds of Meatland. Get the AAA Podcast extra content. We'll help you gain some fun times with our hobby addicts, after parties, and hentai episodes. Nothing gets your blood pumping quite like hentai, and nothing helps the podcast quite like your support. So head over to AAAPodcast.com/join or Patreon to support the show. Again, that's AAAPodcast.com/join or Patreon. Bro, sounds like you need a spot from the AAA podcast.
Welcome back to the podcast. Figured to let you listen to that groovy tune for a little bit longer. When we last left you, we had a trivia question. In the second season of Apothecary Diaries, Mao Mao finds and cares for a cat. What name is the cat given? And bonus points, what is its title? The answer is Mao Mao. Oh my goodness, what a big twist. We got him. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. And the title of said cat is The Admonisher of Thieves, aka chows down on some rats. So, good job, Mao Mao. But we also have a mailbag. So let's do the mailbag dance.
It's time for an almighty anime mailbag. Anime. Anime. Anime.
Mailbag.
All right. And you can submit mailbags at AAAPodcast.com and hit the mailbag button. We're always looking for more mailbags, and it really helps make portions like this part of our episode way more fun the more we have access to. So, today's mailbag comes from listener P-Adams or P. Adams. Who knows? We're not the best at saying people's names on here, but why not continue? Hey, AAA Podcast. Y'all recently did my first mailbag on episode 782. Hey, that was like 6 episodes ago. Was I on that episode? I don't think so.
That's
anyway,
forever
Pimp My
ago.
Gundam. Maybe I was, actually.
Well, I'll find out for you.
I loved all of your opinions of my question. So I have another mailbag for y'all. if y'all had to pick 2 anime characters to protect you, and the rest of the total anime out of these 10 anime characters are trying to kill you, who would you pick? The choices are, and unfortunately, they only gave us 5 choices, so we're probably going to do...
put only 5 here to make it a little bit simpler.
No,
for us
no, no.
pick.
I didn't.
No.
They only put 5.
Yeah, that was the impression I got from Mason's statement as well.
They said they were
I
going
think
to
they
give
wanted
us
to
a
do
list
10,
of 10, and we got to pick 2 of them to defend us from the other 8. And then they listed 5.
Yeah, so I think either the mailbag got cut in a weird way, or they forgot to put in an extra, or they forgot to edit the question after the fact.
Okay, because I'm reading Mason's note, and I thought it meant like I'm only putting 5 here for some reason.
No,
Caroline, Andrew, you guys are too dumb. You can't handle 10 people.
Wow.
So I'm making it for
I'm the one who was
babies.
on your side, Mason. Anyway, the choices are Levi from Attack on... I would not want... Levi, no?
Yeah, it's Levi. You just were about to say Levi, so I was thinking...
No, I haven't watched Attack on Titan in forever. Or Disney Princess Revi, as some of the memes used to say it, with an Rivaille spelling, which is kind of hilarious. Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen. Sung Jinwoo from Solo Leveling. Benimaru from Fire Force. And Shigeru from Mob Psycho 100, which I'm assuming is Mob from Mob Psycho 100.
That's correct.
His name is
it's been a while since I watched it.
Yeah.
And for the record, all of us were on episode 782, Pimp My Gun.
Yeah.
That was the Shark Tank and Flower and Asura review we did.
So
people have been going back to that recently. I see some of you in chat. Crazy takeaways is all I'm going to say.
All I'm going to say is... P. Adam said, "I loved all of your opinions," which, we don't get that very often. So we'll take a W when we get one. But what would you guys pick? What of these characters would you go with to defend yourself from all the others?
So I'm not very familiar with Benimaru from Fire Force. I've barely seen any Fire Force. But just based on all the others, I feel like Jinwoo is the only one that has not actually lost. And like completely, because Levi has lost, Gojo has lost, Shigeo has lost just because his self-esteem is not really there, and sometimes he can feel like, oh, I don't want to hurt people, and that's totally cool. I'm not going to peer pressure a middle schooler, but I will peer pressure Jinwoo, and he'll protect me, I'm sure.
So you're just going numerically. He has 100% win record.
Yeah.
There was 1 or 2 times that he had to kind of put a hiatus on a battle and then come back to it later, but he came back to it later and he did it. He did the job.
Okay, that's a very
so
good
when I say
strategy.
Sung Jinwoo is the boring answer. It's not actually a dig at you, Caroline. It's a dig at the fact that character probably shouldn't be on a list like this because of the ridiculous amount of plot armor, even within his own universe that he gets. My answer was, I picked Gojo, right? Because the only person here who's actually going to attack you for no reason at all is Levi. He's the only one I can see attacking you out of nowhere for any reason. Mob is just I'm going to run. I'm going to do my run club. Benimaru, don't know who the fuck that is. Maybe they will attack me, but whatever. It's they use fire powers, and my guy is the absolute territory. Not the other the other absolute territory. Sun Jinwoo won't do anything because it's too much effort, and unless we're killing people he loves or cares for, he's not going to do anything. So the only one who's actually going to attack you is Levi. I say that's my joke answer for this thing. But I mean, the obvious answer is Sung Jinwoo because he literally has all the powers. It's how do you make Superman boring? It's called Sung Jinwoo. Ooh, never mind. Did I go there? Oh, anyway, that's my answer.
So I split my answer into 2 lists because I'm a coward. But if we're saying it based on the powers that these people have in their shows, I feel like either Gojo or Shigeo would win. I feel like they're telekinesis, telepathic, just raw power output probably trumps and overshadows the other ones. So I'd probably pick one of those 2. I'd put Mob just to show him some love. But if we're saying these characters are just real people in our lives, and they don't get their crazy powers. I think Levi is the only one with any actual like real world anger and passion and like ability to defend anything. I mean, Benimaru is pretty jacked and stacked and like would probably be my second pick, but there you go. I said an answer, so now we covered all 5 of them somehow. So there you go. P. Adams, thank you for the mailbag. Thank you for the repeated mailbag. And thank you, listener, yes, you who is about to submit one with your great question and complimentary nature of our opinions. So, with that said, let us get to our review of the Apothecary Diaries Season 2. This is a winter 2025 show, and Caroline, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, sure. So, Apothecary Diaries Season 2, just the follow-up of Season 1. Follows the story of Mao Mao in not China, but kind of China, and her experiences in the Rear Palace with mysteries, and Jinchi, the eunuch, who kind of sets her out and gives her jobs to do and all that stuff. Yeah, so I really enjoyed Season 1. I was pretty hyped for Season 2, but I was considering, like, I don't know, I think I will certainly enjoy Season 1. Will we pass it for review for the podcast? I'm not sure, because, I mean, we've already reviewed 24 season, or sorry, 24 episode season. I wonder if this is going to make for a good review. So, was this passed by us or a listener choice?
So this was passed by us. I think it was myself, Caroline, and maybe Raggedy, but this was winter 2025, which was a pretty starved for content season from what I can recall. Like let me double check, but I felt like we were like, yeah, it's more Apothecary. Like, it doesn't wow us, but like, I don't know. Like, this was the same season as, for example, Zenshu, My Happy Marriage Season 2, Sakamoto Days, Medalist. Like, it was just fine shows, but nothing that was like, oh, like, we didn't have a good reason to pass anything else over this.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, Andrew, your thoughts going into this?
I don't know why you're starting with me. I'm kidding.
Well, I've already shared my expectations.
I know, I'm just messing. So I started this on Friday last week, because with Season 1, because I had not seen any of the Apothecary Diaries, and I was on this episode, so that was the primary reason why I watched it. I probably would have gone to it at some point, maybe because I know a few of my friends were starting to watch it, and a few of the people I watch on YouTube who aren't like anime YouTubers or anything like that, which I don't really watch anime YouTubers, were like, oh, I love this show, I love this character, and all that kind of fun stuff. So I was like, okay, when I'm like, the show's probably solid going into it. I don't know if I would have passed it if I was on the committee after the first 3 or 4 episodes, because I don't think it does anything. At least the first season, I'm speaking here particularly. So I don't know if I would have passed it based off of that. And I can understand after, and then if I would think about the first couple of episodes of Season 2, in a stronger season, it probably would have been, I'll watch it, but I'm not going to watch it for the podcast because I think there might be more interesting shows to talk about in this particular case. But that's sort of where I'm at in that regards in terms of like my first impressions of the show. Yeah. Mason?
Yeah, so coming from Season 1, I thought Season 1 was good, but not great. And I felt like there was always a lot of fanfare, a lot of acclaim for this. And I just kind of saw it, but never was really on board. And I was hoping that Season 2 would have that extra special something more to push it into that next stratum of quality. So I was hopeful. I really enjoy Mamo as a character, but I feel like the show was missing something, and I wanted to see that so I could say, yeah, Season 2 is finally like hit its apex or hit the mark it was going for. So yeah, hopeful is really where I was at.
Right. So I guess spoiler-free recommendations. I'll go first. It's not going to change people's minds. If you didn't like Season 1, I will say the plot thickens a little bit here. Like, the first season had a climax of sorts, and this one brings in a little bit more to it. And I still enjoyed the season. However, there are some general issues from season one that do not improve here. And in season one, I was enamored with it, partially because, like, I love Mao Mao, and I really like this world they're building here, and I like this vibe, and I was really into it. At season two, now I have, digested all that was good about season one, and now I have to come to terms with what's not so great about it, and that would be it's confusing. It is a confusing show. And it's mostly because there are just so many characters and secret identities and relationships and mysteries and minor plot details that is really hard to keep track of over the course of 48 episodes. Like, towards the end of season 2, they brought up some plot details from season 1, and I'm like, wait a minute. What was that? What happened in that point? How does it relate to here? I don't know. So, honestly, I have been tempted. I think I'm going to read the light novels, partially because I do enjoy this and I want more, but also I want to get a better understanding of what has happened in this show. And that's unfortunately a detriment to the anime. Like, I actually watched some of the episodes of season 1 with my aunt over the course of vacation because I knew she would like this kind of stuff. And she was asking me questions like, "Oh, what happened here?" And I'm like, "You know what? I really don't know." And she asked me, like, "Wait a minute, who tried to poison Li Shu, the concubine in season 1?" I'm like, "You know what? I really forgot. I had to Wikipedia it." I feel like it's a major plot point that one would remember. So, that aside, I enjoyed it, but it does have its problems, and you're not gonna like season 2 if you didn't like season 1. That went a little longer than I
No,
wanted,
I mean, you wrote a pretty big, sizable portion.
I mean, I usually write a little sizable portion, but I even added stuff to it this time.
No, it makes sense. I think because you did enjoy the first season from what I gathered, at least in prior context. So it makes sense that the disappointment you would feel would be a little bit larger. There is like a major, which there isn't seem to be a major disappointment, but it definitely feels like it didn't live up to what you were hoping a second season would be, given the fact that the first season you enjoyed as much as you did.
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
the impression I get.
it does have plenty of good points. It's just I feel like it needs to work on a couple things.
No, it makes sense. I would definitely agree with that. So, well, like you said, if you didn't like season 1, there's nothing season 2 does that will make you love season 1 or like the show in any particular way. It is in some ways a lot more of the same. But also I think it loses some of the charm that it has from that first season. And I think a lot of that comes from the fact of like the changing in setting, and then even when you go back to the old setting, it's not viewed in exactly the same way that it was in that first season. And I marathon, like I said, I finished season 1. I started it on Friday and I was done by Sunday that
Holy
weekend.
moly.
I mean, I essentially was watching 3 episodes from work, a couple episodes during work, and during my lunch breaks, and then a couple of episodes. Also because, I also watched a bunch because on Saturday night when I was making my way home, the subway decided to delay a whole extra hour, and we're at midnight. So I'm like, ugh, am I gonna have to like take night buses and stuff? But essentially I ended up watching like 6 or 7 episodes on my way home because it took me like an extra hour to get home. And it's like skipping intros and EDs and whatnot, and they're fine. They're not like bangers I needed to listen to every time as well. But for the most part, I think some of it is my quote unquote recommendation is that this show should have been done in 13 episode chunks, where that they can consolidate their animation budget into fewer episodes over a longer period. And that also would probably give the show a little bit of a longer period of life, given that the manga itself is currently on hiatus, or like the writer is currently on hiatus due to illness or tax fraud. I'm not particularly sure based off of the reviews I saw. Mason?
Yeah, I'm very interested, particularly in Andrew's opinion, just because he has just watched season 1 like back to back with season 2, whereas it's been probably a year and a half since Caroline and I have like taken a look at it, and we have a fuzzy recollection of like, I remember season 1 kind of being like this. And for me, season 2, as with season 1, it does most things well. It's competently told, it's well produced, it's well executed, it's pretty easy to just generally get immersed in the world, and it's easy to recommend to folks who enjoy a great main character, a great female main character, this historical-esque, Chinese-esque palace mystery soup of flavors. It has a lot going for it. But just like season 1, I find myself irritated and irked and kind of just annoyed by it more than I am wowed by it. And like the show says, poison can be medicine in small amounts, and medicine can be poison in large amounts. And I'm 24 episodes into season 2 now, which means I'm 48 episodes into this entire thing. And at this point, it's just not something I really enjoy the process of watching. I get its strengths, but I just, most obviously, if you don't like season 1, this isn't going to change your mind. In fact, I think season 2 might be a step down. But if you enjoy Mao Mao and all her exploits, I think this is still, worth checking out, especially if it's during a season that's really not giving you much else to watch. So, yeah, same show, more of the show. That's really all there is to it. Are we ready for spoilers?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Spoilers.
I was gonna say, wait a
coming.
second. Oh, I guess now there's spoilers.
Oh my
Well, you
god.
are muted. What do
We
you
can
want?
avoid.
I know I
most
was muted. I was
spoilers.
just like,
We can avoid
it's
most
fine.
spoilers. Go for it.
We'll go spoilers. People already have the spoiler tag, so they're gonna assume it's spoilers. So that's fine. I was trying to give the non-people spoilers listeners maybe a little bit more, but it's okay. We'll
I can take it off.
We'll do it.
We
We'll
have
do it
the
live.
power. I can play the drop in reverse,
No, it's too late. It's
Yeah,
too
do
late.
it
It's
in
too late.
reverse.
and I can
Reverse
Too late.
take
no,
off.
No. I'm doing my thing. No, I'm joking. It's fine. So it's fine. It actually means I don't have to restrict what I talk about. So I watched season 1 into season 2, and early on, it's very much a fairly seamless transition. It's very much more of the same. But as the show continues, it really feels like what the essence of the show that made it like enjoyable, or that I enjoyed, at least for me in the first part. I like the mysteries, but the mysteries were always sort of never presented in a way that was solvable in a way. It really much just said, by the way, here's the answer, and the reveal was never flashy enough in a way for
Right.
me. So the mysteries weren't like my selling point, but I did like the character. I liked a lot of the characters, and I liked a lot of the character interactions, especially later on, right? Especially, and a lot of the character interactions I liked were with Mao Mao and when she was a lady in waiting for Gyoko or Gyoko's
Gokyo. You're
The
Gyo-
high
Gyo-
concubine that she works under.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I thought her interactions with her, well, mostly the ladies in waiting, the head lady in waiting, and the head concubine herself, were always the more fun character moments for Mao Mao, how they reacted to her. And season 2 steps back from that. And even when they put her back into that like situation where it feels like in the writing or the manga, it's like, oh, we took her out of the rear palace. People didn't really like that as much, so we wrote her back, a reason for her to go back in. But then they didn't really focus on like the good part of what was her being in the rear palace, which was all of the connections she had with a lot of these people. And a lot of them felt more surface level, whereas in the first season they felt a lot more deep, even once you got past that surface level part. So yeah, I guess that's where I would be. Also, the animation definitely for a second season did not get better, which was surprising to me. Like at points I was just like, the animation feels not rough, but
So from what I read, they had a pretty tight production timetable. Like they only had like, I think 9 months or so to put a 2-core anime together, and you can definitely feel it sometimes. There are some nice moments, but there are more inconsistencies in the character models, and there's just some weird choices. Like there's this big siege of a stronghold near the end, and they resort to like the still frame colored pencil thing to be like, they're moving, but like we're not actually going to show any movement or action. So it wasn't such a
apart
huge
from that-
drop down, but the show didn't need the greatest
Yeah.
animation, but it did look a little bit worse.
You see, for me, I didn't really notice like poor animation or worsening animation in this show. Again, because it doesn't really need it. And then, they did have that one battle at the end, which, I mean, I guess now that you pointed out it wasn't that good. But again, because I feel like you guys are far more particular about that. I did not really notice it. I didn't think that it was anything worth talking about.
I don't think it bothered me, but I think that it would have benefited more from better animation, or like more.
You would have put another point. You would have put another stat point in that visual stuff.
Yeah, because I think the kind of thing about shows like this, right? Shows like Violet Evergarden without the animation in a lot of ways, which it's a hyperbolic statement I'm making right now, isn't as good of a show. Like there's some great moments, but like what really sells it is some of those facial expressions, how well they're animated, some of like the visuals that go along with it, like really elevate that story and those characters a lot more. And even though there's a lot there to begin with, and I think I'm not going to say it needed a Violet Evergarden treatment, but it would have been like if this show was done by KyoAni, I probably would have a higher opinion of the show. And my opinion is not even low of the show, to be frank here. So
yeah, it's a fine looking show, but when you have all these dance sequences or fight sequences, they're a little underwhelming. It didn't break my enjoyment of it, but it was just like, come on. But anyway.
But yeah.
Now, about the mysteries that, and I keep on saying, like, I want to say Friggy, but I know everybody calls you Andrew, so
you can either or, honestly. You can call me Friggy because you knew me as Friggy first. It's all good.
Mm-hmm. Whatever this guy was talking about earlier.
This one.
About the mysteries. So, like, they were never really that great in the first season either. The second season, I was just like, one in particular, I was so confused by. It was the riddle that Gaoshun gives Mao Mao about the twin sisters in a room, and you have to figure out. It's been a while since I've watched that episode, but it was like one of them leaves the room, and yet the guards saw both of them in there.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay, so is this an actual situation that happened, or is this just a theoretical, or what's the purpose of this? It
feels like they needed to chew up 5 minutes of time, and they're like,
that
we need
one
to make sure Mao Mao looks smart.
To me, yeah, I would say that I don't think there was anything in particular about that. Like that is my issue with the mysteries in season 2, particularly versus season 1. In season 1, they were very much like it was one mystery at a time. It really focused on the mystery, and eventually you found out that. As it says, little coincidences all those many coincidences can stack up to being a major thing, right? Whereas in season 2, they're trying to do the convoluted, we're setting up parts of mysteries for the larger story that we're telling at the end. And you know what's funny to me? This is like a spoiler. Until Mao Mao said that Shishui was Lao Shun,
Lolan.
I did not even pick up on that. And I'm like, oh, I should have realized purple hair. Why not?
She was
but like,
always
it's one
a little
of those
suspicious, but you never really interacted
no, yeah,
with
honestly,
Roland,
that was a good. I thought that was good.
So
I thought that was a good one.
Here's my thoughts, not specifically on that particular mystery, like that big twist. We'll get to that, but to me, there's two types of mysteries in the show. You have the one that are presented and solved pretty much immediately, like Mao Mao, there's a ghost in the window. Well, it's actually this obscure like copper mirror that can project an image, and like they solve it within 3 minutes, and like you can't be expected to solve that as a viewer. But I like, the beginning episodes. Like look at episode 2, and this is kind of what Andrew was talking about, where it's laying a lot of the groundwork for what's to come. You have this arrival of a diplomatic delegation coming. You have 3 new characters. We hear about these waterways and how they're vital to the health of the occupants. And there's a strange smell coming from the north, which is this new area this season that all the bad stuff happens in. We have these fragrances being sold by the caravan, and we have all the mysteries still left over from season 1. And it's really like fusing all these little hints, and you're like, oh, when is that going to come back up? When's that going to be a thing? Is this going to be a red herring? Like, I like that deeper thing of there's like 5 mysteries happening at once, and you're not sure if they relate or are they independent. And that's way more compelling to me than just oh, we need to set up a mystery and solve it like within 10 minutes just to flex Mao Mao's intelligence. So I do like the long game when the show plays that. And I do like the reveal. We got a lot of twists coming and you're like, oh, that's the big twist. And it's actually, no, we have one more. Actually, no, we have one more. Another one. And I did, despite not really liking the whole kidnapping arc that kind of concludes this entire season 2, I did like some of how it went down.
Yeah, because, like, why did they kidnap Mao Mao? What was the point in that? I can understand if at first it was for the mom. Like, I know they were looking for an apothecary to do this elixir of life thing for the mother.
So that was just a happy coincidence.
But that's just a coincidence.
It literally.
So why did they bring her?
Yuri bait. It's Yuri bait because Suire is into Mao Mao as like an intellectual peer, because you get it, right? Like she's like she never actually wanted to have her meet the mother, right? And you can get the same info. Like Shishui didn't want her to meet the mother either. It just so happened that they got caught, and so they brought her along because
she knew too much. She started figuring out that someone was
that too
selling information of some kind that could be promoting poisons or the abortion medication that could influence other stuff. Mamo started putting things together with the old clinic lady kind of being working with them, and they just found out, and they're like, well, I guess we're leaving, so we might as well grab her on the way. And the stakes just ramped up in a really odd way that didn't make me feel the stakes. It was very relaxed and very comic reliefy, and like, oh, we're doing kidnapping again. Oh, it's Suiri's back again.
Some of that is that I think the ending, or like a bunch of these ending episodes, might be anime original, to my understanding, because this is about, from what I could tell, where the manga at least stops. This is where, like, more or less around this part, and I don't know if they even finish it in the manga, which means maybe the light novels, I don't know if the light novels get past it, but it feels very maybe anime ending, or anime original ending, because the series is on hiatus. And so it might have gone a different way. There might have been more to it, but they just went for something that felt a little bit more, because it definitely just feels like a lot of circumstances ending to get to like a conclusion a lot of the ways, right?
Feels like
we're going to blow up.
From my understanding, the light novels are like twice as long as the show is so far. Okay. But the manga and anime combined, they make, as far as I've heard, like small tweaks. I don't know if there might be some bigger tweaks here and there, but I'm not sure. But that's what I've heard. Like for example, one character in season 1, when I was figuring out, like, wait a minute, who was poisoning Li Shu, and then I find out, like, oh, it was Ado's lady in waiting, and then I found out online, like, while the anime executed her, and the manga executed her for that, she actually committed suicide in the light novels. So that kind of change.
I haven't read the light novel.
It feels like the anime is more adapted from the manga than it is from the light novels, for sure. I'm getting that impression.
I feel like this is too big of a plot event for anime to be like, oh, we're going to go rogue and have this huge rebellion that like kills off some of these important characters. Like, it feels like an anime original wouldn't do that. It just doesn't feel well done. You know, it's a kidnapping, but it's like, not really. Mao Mao's just kind of hanging out with them. She's going wowie zowie over the books. Kids are running around. They're at this big stronghold that pretty much just consists of like 5 shirtless dudes in the basement who don't want to be there, 5 shirtless dudes in the bedroom who don't want to be there, and like 5 nights. Like, it's very high school theater budget production. Like, it's just not a big dramatic arc that it's supposed to be. I think the big arc that was supposed to happen was like the mid-season finale, which, you know, Caroline said that the plot thickened. In this case, the frog thickened. How do we feel about the Mao Mao Jinshi won't they relationship that like the show is trying to like push them together, but like 2 magnets, they just keep on bouncing off each other?
Actually, that frustrated me a lot about Mao Mao's character this season, to be honest, because she was just being deliberately obtuse, which was kind of annoying.
It was
like, I get it. Okay, so I can get it if she is trying to like keep herself from the situation for her own sake. but she knows. She knows everything. So she has to know who Jinshi really is, like almost immediately. Like even before season 1 ends, she should have known what his deal was, but ignored it. That would make sense. But the fact that she's surprised, that kills me. It was so
that's
obvious.
unfortunate.
It was obvious. Everybody knew.
Do we?
Well, not everybody. Like a few high-ranking officials, but
No, I
given
mean like
how
the audience. When I say
no,
everybody,
the audience definitely
we
knew.
all knew.
But given how smart she's portrayed, to make her just this kind of dumb, and even when they explain that she's not like she's like essentially what we would call autistic, right?
She's not
in some kind of way
socially
where she
mindful.
doesn't understand all those kinds of things. It still felt like believable that, as for as smart as she is, that she, like I get her not like realizing her not realizing her feelings for someone like Xiaolan, right? Who's someone she was using at first that then grew to have feelings for.
Yeah.
But then for as much as she's interacted with Jinshi, to not, it just feels like kind of like dumb for the plot reasons, which just annoyed me in this particular case.
So one thing I kind of liked about season 1 is that Mao Mao, started at the bottom. Now we're here. Like she had to start from, obviously getting kidnapped is not where you want to begin with, but like she had to build herself up in the palace structure, and she didn't really want to, but when it was found out that she was smart, could read, do all this stuff, she kind of had to prove herself across multiple hurdles. This season, she's kind of already like well respected in the community, and she really didn't have much in her way. Like she didn't have to, as intricately or interestingly in my view, work within the system of the palace and be like, I can't just barge into the room, point to that, have the opportunity to solve a murder, and then bounce. Like she had to like be like, I can't be here, so how do I get information? How do I work with this person? And it was much more interesting. Here, that kind of battle was gone, and it felt like it lost some of what made the series unique. She just was solving mysteries. And really, they even got rid of the best part of season 1, which was just showing like catty, prideful women what's what, and like, being like, oh, this lady's being annoying, like let's put her in her place kind of thing, with Mao Mao being a genius. Like we got that in part 2 of this season, but really part 1 was pretty devoid of anything. It was just kind of wrote unimportant mysteries. I don't know if
I totally agree on that. There was another thing about so both Jinshi and the Emperor bring up the fact that Mao Mao cannot publicly be an apothecary because she's a woman.
She can't make medicine.
Okay.
Don't let
How
anyone
can make
know.
medicine? But all throughout season 1 and for a lot of season 2, Jinshi calls her apothecary. Like that is her name to him in public. And she makes medicine all the time. I don't get it. Why is that a thing? Why can she not do medicine and yet she's doing medicine all the time?
My favorite was like a episode ended with Jinshi being like, Mao Mao, remember, it's absolutely crucial that no one knows that you can make medicine. And then we immediately find out that the old clinic lady figured out that she make medicine. But it's fine. It's cool, actually. Like, everyone knows, and it's actually, there's so many just, like, false, oh, we need to have something dramatic end at the episode, and then it's actually not a big deal. It's storming super loud outside my window right now, so sorry if you hear any...
no, it's pretty sunny over here. I don't hear a thing.
Kind of bouncing around, back to the big kidnapping arc, and I guess another problem I had with it is that so many of the players involved with this whole, Northern Kingdom, but like this person is actually this person's relative, we don't really interact with any of them. So this big revelation when someone comes in and is like, actually, I'm your sister's grandmother's niece's mother and lady's waiting former roommate. It's like, like anyone can make up, like it just didn't feel like good writing because we never had met those characters or learned about them, or I didn't have any context. Sure, I believe that they actually have imperial blood in them and are royalty, but like, why would I care? It just felt a little too I don't know. Lame.
Yeah, I also had to do some Wikipedia-ing because I'm like, wait a minute, what do you mean Sui Rei has royal blood? She's the granddaughter of who? Of what? And like I kind of like, and so the story of the lady in waiting getting impregnated by the former emperor, but they place it on the doctor being the one, and that's when they did the whole like all the men in the rear palace has to be eunuchs now. I received that memory a little while later, but I was like, okay, so she's the granddaughter of this lady, I forget her name. And I'm like, whose name is that? It sounds familiar, but I don't know who that is. And I'm like, it's a lot of that.
If you never meet
so
these
she's
characters,
the
you're not attached to them.
granddaughter
Yeah.
of essentially the lady in waiting who was basically the former emperor was a pedo.
Yeah.
And
I'm surprised by this characterization because they kind of make him seem very innocent, and even by the end, he's seen as like a very like a senile old man in the end of his life. But he's not. He's not, and he's a pedo. But they don't put like the evil music behind him or anything, you know.
Remember, this is Japan, and they don't have the same proclivities to underageness as we do here in the West. So that's probably why. Like, remember, the Rurouni Kenshin guy can have all this child material on his computer and still be a very prolific mangaka. Obviously, you can tell how I feel about that, but people still like. Anyway, but somebody commits tax fraud and they're in big trouble. So that's why they're not getting the evil music, which is yeah, he does come off more innocent because they don't view it as big of a problem, and it's just like one of those things where it's just not the collectivism in Japan, but it's just sort of like we don't talk about the dirty secrets that we have in this particular case. We just sort of like hide them away.
I mean, worst case argument, I could say it results in some more compelling family structures because you have more like age gaps and be like, oh, okay, the emperor is 70, but his first wife is 21, but his second son is now this age. So like it allows for more looseness with the characters' ages and relationships. So I get why it happens. Still, it's not something you want to see. But
I applaud the Empress Dowager for being that young, taking advantage of that man, and then using it to try and do good.
I loved her.
There's a lot of girl bosses in the show, which you love to see.
Yeah. The Empress Dowager, I thought she was going to be like a total bitch, but like she is awesome. She's actually pretty cool. Also, other things, I'm really sad that we definitely, like, even in season 1, I felt that this was not, like, we didn't get enough time with this character, Ado, the former high-ranking concubine.
I feel like we got a lot more of her in season 1, right?
Yeah.
Like she was
only in season 2 for like a second.
She's just pretending to be Jinshi.
She was pretending to be Jinshi, and then also she was accepting the orphans
at the end.
Yeah, and in season 1, she was like in a couple of episodes. Like she was in like maybe 2 or 3 episodes, but you don't really get to interact with her for more than like maybe even like a part of an episode. But then you find out she's like this really cool person. And I'm like, why aren't we hanging out with her more? But yeah, so that's one of the things. And to also like bring this back around to like towards like as we get towards the end, I think that I did like what they did with Xiaolon's character, and like I like that she got a little bit of an evolution from not even dim-witted, but like uncaring, like I don't have the right word, but like the uncaring feeling, laissez-faire kind of attitude in life, to like wanting to learn to read so that she could read like
she gotta find a job. I'm like, yeah, you gotta find a job. You go, Xiaolon.
Well, no, it evolved into that, but remember, she wanted to learn to read so that she could, because she felt bad for the girl who could read, that was reading effectively what I in my mind are like the female porn, but not really porn.
Well, no,
like
because Mama had the female porn. This is another hot goss drama going on.
Yeah, and so she wanted to learn to read because of that, and then it led to her thinking about like, oh, what about my future? And I was like, I like that at the end, that like little moment where she doesn't really get to say goodbye properly. but you know she's gonna be okay. That was like kind of
Yeah,
nice. I really did like
was
that.
nice.
That was nice and sweet.
Yeah, and like Andrew mentioned, the mysteries weren't always hitting, but I did like, the back and forth Mao Mao had with Chisui, and even Jinshi to some degree with his more stubborn, childlike opening up to her. I felt like their chemistry was a little bit better. It was still very shoujo wish fulfillment more than like authentic romance, but it did have some more back and forth banter that I did enjoy. So,
Yeah.
solid characters.
I also really liked Shisui / Lolan because, I mean, I knew there was something going on because especially
She
when
was always sketch.
throughout season 2 we had not met Lolan, and then that whole ice cream thing happened where Mao Mao had to make ice cream for Lolan, and we don't even see Lolan taste it. Little did we know, we had already seen Lolan taste it
Oh
because she
my
was
goodness.
portraying Shisui. So I knew there was something going on because we that was weird that we just chose not to see Lolan in this episode, even though it was all about her.
Yeah,
And then I kind of got it as it was happening, and it was good.
there's a lot of little moments that, like, in hindsight, which I do enjoy, like when all of them are acting as masseuses for some reason, they just a bit of a weird thing, like, oh, we need to have an in, so let's just not do our jobs and just massage people for 3 days. But like when the
Every other day.
when the other high concubine, the younger one, walks in, Rishi, and like Roran like turns away, like she's like, oh, like she would recognize me, so she's like doesn't go help her, like she kind of tries, like, oh yeah, like going back, you can kind of see that. It was fine. It was an all right twist. It was the whole hair stick, I forget what they were calling it, that Mao Mao used to tie up her, that Jinshi gave her, like how that like saved her life, and then
That was
it was just the
I
show.
knew something
the
like that
show
was gonna
should have
happen.
killed the children. They should have killed Lolan. Like, they should have committed to the bit.
They got me for a second there. They made me think for a second that it was going to happen, but
The second they're like, oh,
No,
we
I
need
was
to
like,
bring
oh,
the
she's
medication
reviving.
that makes you seem like you're dead, but you're not dead.
yeah.
It was a little lame.
Also, shout out to Jinshi, who comes into the room with 4 deceased children, and Mao Mao keeping watch over them, and tries to make moves on
Yeah.
Mao Mao when he thinks that there's 4 deceased children
That's
right
commitment.
behind her.
But
That's
yeah.
commitment.
What the hell?
I mean, dude's horny.
I know, and that's like one
And
thing
bitey.
I'm like, I feel I don't love, because I love Jinshi and Mao Mao, and I love those little moments. However, Mao Mao's obviously not having it. She's not in
Reciprocate.
it. She's not reciprocating.
There was
And
no
I
affirmative consent.
don't love that. But they do it every time.
The one last thing I wanted to shout out, because we have been harsh on this show overall, and I think it's, at least for me, it's because I
don't
see
know
the
if we were
potential there.
harsh.
Like they're good stuff, and it's like so good
we were
that what
measured.
does come up in our mind is the little stumbles it has along the way. I've never been huge on the openings for this series. Even back to season 1, they were always just kind of fine at best. And this doesn't change that. But the second opening, while still not exciting me musically besides that tasty bass line, I did like the touches of the POV of characters that weren't Mao Mao. And because we spend so much time in Mao Mao's head, in her focal view, but seeing how Shrusi or Jinshi like views her and like the events that we've seen so far in season 1, I thought that was really nice. That was a cool touch, and makes you more, I guess, grounded in the world, and it's not just Mao Mao's world, but it's a shared place, and I like that.
I have a question before we get to the end of our review here. Just going back to 2K. So now that Jinshi's identity, the cat's out of the bag, the frog is out of the
Swamp.
cave. Swamp.
Also, how did they end up in that cave? They jumped down the waterfall, but they weren't
There
like
was
at
a
the
cave
they
behind
weren't
the
at like the
waterfall.
bottom of the waterfall. There was like still the waterfall going on.
Yeah.
So like they got
Yeah.
out
Don't
and
think
then
about it too
climbed
hard.
back
Don't
up.
think about it too hard. Magic.
There was
Jinshi,
quite a
you know.
few plot holes in this show. But anyway, yeah, what's your question?
Okay. So, and I had this question back in season 1, but I was hoping they would make it more clear in season 2, and obviously they didn't. So, Jinshi is the imperial brother. She's a brother to the emperor. However, he is the son, he's the biological son of the current emperor and Ado.
Mm,
So they
no?
No, he is.
He is?
Ado is his mom.
I thought he was his. I could be wrong. It's been a while. I thought he's the son of like the previous emperor.
That's
like
what they-
he's
that's what
he's
they
the
say.
crown prince. So he's like
Yes.
second in line.
However, they switched the babies in season 1. And I was
Yeah.
wondering why they did that. So Ado's son, Jinshi, was switched with the original imperial brother, who was the Empress Dowager's second son. So the babies were switched. And I'm not entirely sure why. I think it had something to do with the fact that apparently Jinshi was like ill as a baby, and they switched the baby so that
No,
he would get a
you're
better
right.
care.
I'm remembering now.
That's why, right?
Yeah.
And then the biological son of the Empress Dowager dies due to honey poisoning, and then Ado's stuck with like her biological son not being hers and having no baby to care for, and that just sucks. So that sounds correct, right?
No, you're right. For some reason,
except
I was
for
like,
it's
the old emperor. That was
It
That
feels
was-
more implied because he looks exactly like the old emperor, so that's
Yeah.
where the confusion
and it
comes
was
in.
also like
A lot of
a
people
point of like, the Mao being like, you're like not the age that you look because of all that. Okay, Caroline.
Yeah.
You're right. He's the son
yeah,
of the current
just-
emperor.
And just to summarize why I was asking that question, Jinshi's life situation is so freaking convoluted. Like, not only are you pretending to be a eunuch, but you are also the imperial brother, but also not the imperial brother, and you are keeping all these identities a secret from several people.
But we have so many scenes of being like, Gauch being like, you gotta tell her. You gotta tell her. You just gotta tell her. He's like, I know. Proceeds to not tell her. And I get it. There's reasons. There's drama. I think I've read somewhere that the light novel author was like, they're really not a couple. Like I didn't intend them to be a couple, but like the fans are kind of pushing them together. And
They're
like,
pushing Jinshi on Mao. She can't pretend that she's not doing, or whoever it is pretending to do that. That's not the readers. They literally put them together in a cave and made them all wet.
It's tough
That's
because
not the readers.
I don't dislike either of them. And that's usually the problem I have with romances where you're not feeling the chemistry, or because one of them is just a jerk or whatever. But they're both nice. I just don't like them together. They just don't vibe. They don't have that.
I love them together.
So anyway, this review is a little bit all over the place. Any closing thoughts?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Because I went first the other few times. I love the show. I love Mao. I love Jinshi. I love all the characters, or most of the characters. Do have my problems with it. A lot of the plot lines just feel dropped without adequate conclusion. Like especially with the caravan, the people that came with the caravan, the important people from the West or whatever. I'm like, I'm still not sure what their deal is.
The one that we had the fake do the dance for to make him believe in the moon fairy princess, whatever.
And then there's this whole thing with the royal family, and they're apparently colorblind, and that is how you choose the emperor. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is a lot. And then it continues, but I still really like it. I still wonder why Mao is no longer working in the palace, like at the end. Like they kind of just quietly fired her for some reason. I don't know why.
I think because like she was technically like under contract to the eunuch Jinshi, and now he's like no longer pretending to be that. So like his
okay,
title is
I
gone.
wasn't sure if he completely let the cat out of the bag.
It's really
like,
just so they
completely.
can have an excuse in season 3 to have her kidnapped again and have to go back. We're going back to the palace. Too Palace, Too Furious. Sorry. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll definitely be watching season 3, season 4, and however many seasons. I've already not only do I like the show, I've also invested 48 episodes. So I'm in it to win it.
3 cheers for sunk
and
cost fallacy.
Yeah. But even without that, I still really like it. So I'm going to continue, even with some of the minor problems I have with it, which will be rectified when I read the light novels. And I will be sure to do that at some point, even though I don't really read light novels. However, I gave season 1 a 4. I'm going to have to give this season 3.5 frogs.
God
that
damn it. I
are
knew you were going to
definitely
say
not.
that because that
They're
was mine.
definitely frogs. They're definitely frogs.
Frogs
out
with
of 5.
quotation marks around it. Okay.
Just because as much as as a lot of the things that it does well here, they did well in the first season. However, it did not improve. And in fact, it made me focus on some of the things that were not good in the first season. So
Chat
there
is
you have it.
asking, on a scale of 1 to 5, how bad do you want season 3?
A 5.
A 5?
I will definitely watch
5 out of
Yeah.
5. There you go.
I think it's already been confirmed that they're going to make it. So,
Wouldn't surprise me.
although
Andrew?
at first I was like, wait a minute, this feels like a series ending. This seems like, because Mao Mao's no longer working in the palace, and I was like, wait a minute, is this the end of the show? And I looked it up, and no, there's plenty more. So
We'll see. Like, I mean, honestly, like a 2 or 3. I'll watch it probably, maybe just to continue, but I also don't really feel the need to. I don't need it, but if I get it, sure, why not? We'll see what else I'm watching that season.
And what would you rate it?
Oh, we're doing ratings now. Okay,
Yeah.
so season 1, I think I would have given like probably a 3.5 or a 4 out of 5. Mysteries that coincide into a plot on the Crown Prince. But season 2, I'll probably give. It is. I don't think it's significantly worse. I think it's pretty solid for the most part. I think I'll give it a 3. Mao Mao, the Admonishers of Thieves out of 5, because I really have nothing better to do to give it. I don't have anything creative to say to it. You know,
Is what it is. That's fine.
I didn't hate the show. I didn't love the show. I enjoyed enough of the show. And I think I would have enjoyed more of the show they didn't do. But if they're going to do it in season 3 and give it to me the way I want, then yeah, baby, sure, why not? That's my review.
Nice. And just to close things out, I think season 2 moved in the wrong direction, and so I gave season 1 a 3. And my gut wants me to lower this to a 2.5, but it really doesn't belong there. It's really not that middling of a show. If you like the source material, I think this probably is a pretty solid light novel adaptation. It's just not hitting the right notes for me, and I'm glad that the masses enjoy it. But I think that almost leads more to disappointment, because you hear so much acclaim and love and adoration for it, and you watch it and you're like, yeah, it's decent, but it doesn't blow me away. So I'm sticking with 3 toads out of 5, because I'm too unoriginal to come out with any other scoring system. And I think that puts us at a 3.5 average, 3 average, give or take. I forgot what Andrew gave it. I think 3 average.
I also forgot what I gave it.
Perfect.
I feel like another good point value would be like however many torture chamber barbecues that Mao Mao puts on.
Yeah, it's okay. It's heavy des. Anyway, that was episode 788 of the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you had a good time. I sure did. Find us at AAAPodcast.com, where you can submit those mailbags and sign up for our bonus content, such as hentai episodes, hobby addicts, and after parties like we're about to record next week. Super excited. We're getting to summer 2025 impressions, so gone are the days of Andrew having to watch 48 episodes of an anime. We get to watch all the hot new seasonals that all of you are talking about, and I'm very excited to dive in.
I haven't even finished my spring shows. Now we're going to start summer. I'm like, but I need to finish stuff.
The life, it just keeps on moving, marching ever faster.
DDO.
So anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening. Guys and gals, I should say. We will see you next week with that. Hope to see you there. Bye.
Bye.